That sounds great. Good morning, everyone. I'll let you go ahead and do your spiel, Maria, and then I can follow up with the roll if you'd like.
Yeah, that would be great. Just want to call the meeting of the special events team, August 24th, 2022 together. And just a quick reminder for folks, one, we are streaming, and this is a public meeting, so watch your P's and Q's. Second, just for those watching or interested, every once in a while, we like to just re-describe the reason for the special events committee being and what events come before the special events committee. This is an administrative function convened by the city of Boise, but made up of all the different agencies that have a part in making sure that large public events in our community are safe, that we're taking things like police and fire, food security and safety into consideration as the events are being planned. Special events aren't allowed at every location within the city. We have a list of specific parks, a list of different locations where special events are allowed to be held. And typically we look at things like ingress and egress, any road closures, if there are special activities that are happening at an event like bounce houses, live music, food trucks in particular, now that Boise Fire Department licenses them. Those kinds of activities are the kinds of activities that trigger a special events permit, and different permits that need to be signed off on by some or all of the agencies that are involved in advance of an event. So sometimes events fit the 1,000-person threshold, and sometimes they tick into a special event based on the kinds of activities they're planning and whether or not they're open to the public, and we can determine what those participation is going to look like. So just a quick explanation. We've had a lot of questions about what a special event is in the city of Boise in the past couple of days, so I wanted to take this opportunity to just restate what it is we do and why we exist. So Kelly, if you would please call the roll.
Perfect, thank you. Ada County Highway District.
John Wasson, ACHG, Assistant Traffic Engineer. And I've got Debbie White here with me also.
Hi.
Boise City Public Works. Ed just got kicked off, so I didn't know if he was back on yet, but he is somewhere in Zoom world. We'll come back to him. Republic Services.
Good morning, Conrad McDaniel. I'll apologize in advance. My computer doesn't like Zoom and it just shuts off audio and mutes me on random. So if that happens, I apologize.
Thank you. Boise City Parking Services.
Vince Vergara, City Boise, Parking.
Valley Regional Transit.
Hi, Leslie Pedroza, Operations Director with Valley Regional Transit.
Central District Health Department.
This is Joe filling in for Dinko today.
Boise City Risk Management.
Hi, Sydney Murphy here.
Boise City Parks and Recreation.
Emerald Terry, Parks and Rec.
Downtown Boise Association.
Andre Womack, Community Engagement Manager for Downtown Boise.
Boise City Fire Department.
Good morning, Jesse Tapper, Boise Fire Department.
Ada County Paramedics. Boise City Police Department.
Matthew Tumbelinka, Boise City Police.
Taylor, Boise City Police Events Admin.
Thank you. Boise City Emergency Preparedness.
Rachel Holford, Boise City Emergency Preparedness.
Then Kelly Frank with the City Clerk's Office. I believe that is everyone, Maria.
Great, thank you. We have 3 events to run through today, and as is typical, we'll ask event organizers to walk through their event with us. Hopefully, just touching on all of the different pieces that the folks around the virtual table are interested in. And after your presentation, we will just do a quick round robin. I'll read through the agencies in the same order that Kelly did, and we'll have some quick Q&A before you are off the hook for today's meeting. So we start with the 2022 Boise Comic Arts Festival. After a wild ride of the past few years, we are, I think, are all in person again this year with some new venues and exciting activities. Josh, are you with us?
I am. Can you everybody hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Josh Chappelle. I am the events coordinator for Boise Public Library, and our director, Jessica Dorr, is also joining us from the library as well.
Good morning.
As Maria mentioned, it's been a few years of virtual events or hybrid events that we've been doing for Boise Comic Arts Festival. This year is our 10th anniversary of doing this event. We started out as Library Comic Con back in 2013, and eventually the name changed. The event has moved venues a variety of times. But this year, we're excited to have a couple of new venues that we're going to be working with, including Zoo Boise and the Idaho State Historical Museum, or I guess the Idaho State Museum. So I want to talk a little bit about what the event is, and then what we're doing each of the days of the event. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if that is all right. I guess, Kelly, I might need the agenda to come down. Is that okay? Okay. Thank you.
I can see
Did that
that.
show up for everyone?
We can see it.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. All right. So Boise Comic Arts Festival 2022 is happening September 16th through the 18th. We've added an additional day as the 16th, which is a Friday. There are going to be different events each of the days, and I'll outline what each of those events will include. But the overview of the festival, it's a free annual community event produced by the library in partnership with a variety of different organizations and supported by our Friends group and Library Foundation, as well as some sponsors, and of course the City of Boise. This is our 10th year, as I mentioned before, and we have new venues this year, the zoo, the State Museum, and we're, for the first time in a few years, bringing it back to the main library itself, which is where it all started. So, and you can see our lovely poster by our great poster artists, Morgan Beam and Jorge Corona. So the features of the events, on Friday, the 16th, we're going to have, and this is brand new, Librarians and Educators Day. So this is going to be a much more limited in scope event. It's registration only, and it's specifically geared towards school and public librarians and teachers at various levels, from elementary on up through university potentially. And we're going to be talking with them about how to use comics and comic-related artwork in the classroom. We have the whole day is set up with presentations from a variety of guest creators who will be coming in from out of town to share their expertise on comics. And we'll also have some of our library staff members talking about collection development, things like that. And then we also will have an artist alley. That's Saturday at the zoo. And our artist alley is kind of the biggest part of the event. We bring in a bunch of, I mentioned, guest creators from across the country. We also have a lot of local artists and writers and exhibitors who will be present. So we set up tables and booth spaces for them to meet with the public and to sell their artwork, their books, things like that. The event also includes panels and workshops. Most of those will be happening on Sunday at the main library and at the State Museum. And those just allow folks to learn a little bit more about the process of either creating comics, the history of comics, and with the workshops, how to do different aspects of creating a comic. And then we have cosplay contests and art contests. The art contest is going on right now. The cosplay contest will be taking place on Saturday at the zoo, and we'll have adults, teens, and kids, so 3 different levels of contest. And then there's also a variety of other activities that we'll have going on, which I'll talk a little bit more about as well. So Friday, as I mentioned, Librarians and Educators Day. It will be at the Idaho State Museum entirely. They have a couple of classrooms there that we have reserved, and so we'll be using that classroom space. It runs from 8 to 5, so all day. The nice thing about it is that we've been able to get accreditation so that teachers who are interested in getting continuing ed credit, if they attend, they can get that continuing ed credit for being involved with this event. The total allowed registration is 40, so we've capped it relatively low, partly because of the space and partly because this is our first year doing it, so we want to see how everything goes for this first year. So the entire attendance will be 40 at max, in addition to our guest speakers and staff members. For parking, for that particular event, it would just be the parking lot at the library and in the park, the normal parking lot that's used for the museum. We don't have any additional security since it's essentially a closed event, in that it's not widely open to the public because registration is required for it. The museum has their own security staff that they contract with as well. And we don't have anything additional planned right now for medical related things for that particular event. And the same with trash recycling. It's not going to be something that generates a bunch of waste. We are planning to provide lunch for our attendees and snacks, like prepackaged granola bars, types of things like that. So that would be the trash that would be generated, but nothing big there. So. And if at any point you have any questions, let me know too while I'm going through this. So Saturday, the 17th, is kind of the big day. That's going to be at Zoo Boise and just outside of the zoo in the park area as well. So we'll have our vendors and exhibitors folks load in. Load in starts 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. The event itself will run from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then the vendor will have them loading out 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And with this one, we've also capped attendance. Tickets will be required. Right now, we've released 12,000 tickets. The total attendance that's going to be allowed is 15. So we're going to see how those 12,000 tickets go. If they end up moving, we have some in reserve that we can release in addition. But that 15 also includes all of our vendors, our exhibitors, our staff. Everyone is going to be in the zoo. The zoo has asked us to cap that at that level. So, and that's based on their past experience doing free events at the zoo. And this will be a free day. So while tickets are required, they're free for anyone to register for. So for parking, obviously this is going to be one of the big challenges for any event in the park and at the zoo. We'll be using Julie Davis Park's regular parking lots. We're also working on getting a shuttle between Ann Morrison Park and the zoo, which is something that the zoo has done before for their free events. It has worked pretty well to kind of spread out the parking a bit. So the shuttle would pick up at Ann Morrison and then would drop off right outside, right near the zoo front gate. Trash and recycling, the zoo is planning on increasing the number of trash and recycling bins that they will have out that day. The waste that would be generated is primarily from food services, and all the food services for that day are going to be provided by the zoo's in-house catering service. So nothing external to the zoo food wise that day, no food trucks or anything like that. So we don't really have a lot of other waste that would be generated. We're trying to be very cognizant of the fact that the zoo, of course, has animals, and they don't really want a bunch of trash getting into the animals' enclosures, rightly so. So we're not going to be doing a lot of not paper handouts or anything like that. It's going to be primarily just food-related byproducts. So like I said, the zoo is going to provide additional trash and recycling throughout their location. They've asked us to provide an additional dumpster for the events so that they can take care of that trash afterwards. And we're going to contract with some additional janitorial staff. That's one of the things that they asked us to do to help make sure the restrooms are maintained and make sure the trash is bags and bins are emptied out. So and then security, I've been in contact with Johnny Bush from Security Services, and we're talking about, and with the zoo folks. They don't have regular security folks during their normal days. They do get extra security for their free days. So we're going to be contracting with most likely Allied Security, who the city has worked with before and the library has worked with before, to hire some additional security staff to be in the zoo, patrolling that space. And then I mentioned there'll be a little bit, so in the park area immediately outside of the zoo, we're going to have a few, the plan is to have a few canopies set up and some games, like life-size games, a superhero training course. If any of you are interested in learning how to be a superhero. And a few other relatively small things taking place out there. Part of the idea with that was to provide folks who are either waiting to get into the zoo or who want to take a break from being inside the zoo during the event, a chance to get out in the park, get away from that, and to do some other things while they're waiting out there. So, and so we'll ask that our security folks patrol both inside and outside in that area as well. And then for medical related things, the zoo, talking with their director, they're very good at getting folks out of the zoo in medical emergencies. That's something that they have a lot of experience with, which I guess maybe sounds bad, but they are experienced with that. But we would like to talk, and I haven't had a chance to do this yet, talk with the EMS folks to see if, you know, if there's anything in particular that they're concerned about. And obviously this forum is a great opportunity to do that since everybody's here. So I'm hoping to get feedback from you all about what you think would be ideal and recommended for medical related issues that might pop up. So for the most part, the zoo, and most of the event at the zoo is going to be self-contained within the zoo. And it's going to be, a lot of the things that we're going to be doing are similar to what they've done in the past with their free events. So there will be canopy tents set up and around the sort of plaza area of the zoo. And I do have a map, which I'll share here just in a minute too, of that space. But nothing that we're doing is particularly outside of what the zoo has done for their free events at the zoo. They do have a stage there. We'll be doing the cosplay contest from the stage that's inside the zoo. We're not planning on having any live music. There may be some music piped through the stage speakers during downtimes, but I think that would be the most as far as music goes. And some of the performances will be taking place on that stage inside the zoo plaza as well. And then Sunday, the 18th, we're moving everything back to the library and the State Museum. So this is going to be a much smaller, more focused day of the event. It's going to run from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I'm expecting probably 1,000 or fewer people throughout that day. So parking, we're looking at the library parking lots, the park parking lots as well. Security for that day. So the State Museum, like I mentioned, has their own security guard who will be present. We have 2 regularly scheduled library security guards for the weekends, And we're talking about contracting for an additional security guard for the library building. Initially, we had talked about doing food trucks and things like that outside of the library. We're not going to do that. So this day is going to really be contained within the library and within the State Museum. We have the 2 classroom spaces at the museum as well as their ballroom space. And we also have library meeting room spaces and other spaces within the library. And so this day is going to really be focused on panels and workshops and gaming. So it's going to be sort of smaller focus. It's not going to be the big cosplay contest. There's not going to be an artist alley with vendor booths or spaces. None of the big things will be happening on Saturday. And so right now we don't have anything additional planned as far as medical or trash and recycling. We won't be generating any more waste than we would on a normal day at the library without food present. There's a lot of food vendors obviously down the street from the library that people can walk to, restaurants and things like that. So we're not planning to have any additional food available on site during that event. So the most trash recycling type of stuff that would be occurring would be cardboard boxes. And that's true of the zoo too. For some of the vendors and folks, as far as recycling stuff, it would be cardboard boxes that they would be bringing their books in that hopefully they're not taking back because they've sold out, ideally. So that's the broad overview, and I can share the map. As well. So let me see. This is not the best. I sent it to the special events email this morning. So this is inside the zoo. Can everybody see that? As well as possible.
We can see it, thank you.
Okay. So within the zoo, we're going to have 2 entrances open that day, a back entrance on the east side of the zoo and the regular entrance at the front of the zoo. And there'll be 2 exits as well, the regular exit through the gift shop and then an additional exit at gate, I think it's 9. Also along the front plaza area, which doesn't really show up on this map, but I have it indicated with this exit arrow here. The red stars are areas where we're going to have our vendors and exhibitors with table spaces. Around this plaza area, sort of right when you walk in the zoo, is the area where we'd have canopied, like the larger vendor spaces. The other spaces would be primarily just table space. So we have both 8-foot and 4-foot table spaces. So we have some folks sharing tables for the other vendors. We'll have, and this is already set up, the zoo has a tent set up near the red pandas on sort of the north side of the zoo. That's where we're going to be having a green room for our creators and exhibitors and folks so they can kind of get out of the public eye for a few minutes and grab a snack, some water, things like that. And then the next page, I have sort of the external view, the larger view of the park, showing the entrances and exits again. For the morning, the load-in parking, we're hoping to block off the parking area that's right in front of the zoo there from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. so that we can allow our vendors to load their materials in and into the zoo in the morning. This area sort of right in front of the zoo is the area where we'd have our stuff going on in the park. It's pretty limited. We're not using the whole park. Initially, we'd had some other things we were hoping to do, and sadly, including wrestling, but sadly our wrestlers won't be joining us this year. So that won't be happening out there. So that'll be pretty limited, that area that's outside the zoo. And then as far as, like I mentioned, Sunday, it's going to be inside the library, inside the state museum. So as far as that goes, the point of concern, I guess, would be the Capitol Boulevard crossing. Obviously, that's a very high traffic area. And for our staffing schedule for the day, we have a couple of people to help out with as service crossing guards, if that's something that we think that you all think is necessary to have on Capitol there and River, where you cross over to the State Museum. I think that's the majority of what I wanted to say initially. I am open to any questions and especially feedback.
That's perfect. That's great, Josh. We'll just go around the different agencies, starting with ACHD.
Well, the only thing that I saw was the last 2 or 3 sentences that Josh had, and that's the crossing with crossing guards at Capitol and River. And if so, that's going to require a permit and temporary traffic control plans, and figuring out what kind of flaggers or assistance we're going to use, because we want to make sure that everything's safe. And if he's going to be providing assistance, we want to make sure that all the rules are being followed.
John, and I guess everybody, is that something that you think that we should have in that particular instance, having crossing guards at that particular? It is a lit intersection. It's a one-way street, and it does have lights and everything. But we want to be cautious. So
it is, and depending on how we do it, we may not have to have traffic control. If you're just going to have people there that are going to say, don't cross until the light changes, we may not need traffic control, but we'd want to at least enter discussions with you. But we'd be very hesitant about just allowing you guys to step out into traffic on a green ball and let people cross.
Oh, sure. Yeah. We would not want that. I was thinking more, when the light's red, to have folks just make sure people are getting across safely. But yeah, I wouldn't want anyone to try to stop traffic on a green light.
So I think we can chat about that. We would want you to do a type A permit request. That'll be a no fee at this point in time. And this is a city event, right, Joshua?
It is, yeah.
Then it'll be a no fee either way, because we don't charge the city of Boise.
Thanks.
So generous, John.
It's a deal Maria and I have come up with. So just get with us offline, please, Joshua.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Ed.
Thanks, Maria. Hey, Josh, just a quick clarification. On your application, you did select you wanted to borrow some trash boxes and recycling containers, but it sounds like maybe you've got that covered.
Yeah, I think initially that's what we were thinking, but I talked a little bit more with the zoo folks, and they have additional containers that they can use for their space. And that's really the day of most concern, is what's going on in the zoo there as far as trash goes. So I think that should be covered.
Okay. If anything comes up, please let me know, and we can work on getting you some extra containers just to make sure everything is kept clean and sanitary. Okay. And then also just one more thing. I know you selected that you electronically distributed the event low waste guide. Thank you, but for some reason, if you hadn't or you have new vendors, please distribute that to them so they can get an idea of kind of what we're looking for as far as waste generation and ideas to keep it low waste. So, but that's all I've got for you.
Okay, thank you, Ed.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
All right, Conrad.
Hi, Josh. Conrad here with Republic Services. And I saw in your presentation that the zoo recommended that for this event to order an extra dumpster on top of what they already have there at the zoo. Has that been taken care of?
Not yet. I was talking with them this morning actually about that. So that's something that we'll need to get ordered. And they were thinking, I think it's 8-yard dumpster, if that sounds correct. I think that's what they've done in the past for their events.
That does sound correct. They currently have permanent 2 8-yard dumpsters on site, so that would match up. It makes sense to get a third. We should get rolling on that. So I have your email address, and I'm going to send you a form.
Okay.
And if you need me to help complete it, I'm certainly here for that. How about at the library? How's their trash situation? They get picked up Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so it covers both sides of the event. Have you asked them if they need extra services?
I don't think that we do. For the most part, we're not going to be generating a lot of extra trash that day. Nothing really more than we do on a normal day at the library. So I really don't think that we need any real additional waste removal services or anything like that. So.
Okay. One more question regarding recycling at both sites. Each site does have recycle services. You mentioned vendors bringing in books and supplies in boxes and thinking that they would recycle. Do you think the on-site recycling is enough, or should we bring in another recycled container like we are for trash at the zoo?
I think it would probably be enough, but let me double check with the zoo folks and see. That would be primarily the recycling would be broken down boxes and things like that. Because I assume that, I mean, generally folks bring their books and whatever in boxes. So like I said, hopefully they're leaving with them empty, so they'll be leaving those behind. But I'll double check with the zoo folks and see if they think an additional recycling bin would be good as well.
Okay, yeah, great. Please do. And following this meeting, I'll send you that request for the trash dumpster at the zoo.
All right. Thank you, Conrad. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Conrad. Vince.
Hey, Josh, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for taking my call the other day and explaining what the needs were for parking. I appreciate you explaining everything to me. Since it's all inside of the park and library, parking doesn't need to be involved with that. And so we are good to go from our standpoint.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Leslie, anything from VRT?
Nothing from us.
Great. And we have, yep, Joe, Central District Health.
Can you guys hear me? The only thing I need from you guys would be a notice of event for the art festival, and then it sounds like you don't have any food vendors. So, but if you do have anything outside the zoo, we'd also need that.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have any additional food vendors other than the zoo's in-house catering folks. So.
Great. Sydney.
Hi, Josh. We're good on our end.
All right. Thank you.
Summer.
Josh, you're doing a good job. I have nothing. Thanks.
Thanks, Summer.
Andre.
Hi, Josh. This sits right outside of our bid, but we would still like to see just kind of your community notification plan for informing some of those impacted areas right around you. Obviously, you're hosting it at the zoo, so you don't need to communicate with them. But Boise Art Museum over there, Idaho State History Museum, a few of those things. We'll work offline together on that. But everything looks really good. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre.
Boise Fire.
Good morning, Josh. Thanks for that presentation. That was very good. Just a couple points of clarification. Everything happening at the Boise Library and the museum is all inside. There's nothing outside. Was that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then it sounds like most of your vendors are going to have tables. Do you have a rough estimate on how many canopies you plan on setting up inside the zoo and just outside of the zoo?
Right around 10 inside the zoo and 5 to 6 maybe outside the zoo.
Okay. This may require, a special event permit through the Boise Fire Department. I'm going to speak with the fire marshal. I'll get back with you on that, just because of the size of your event. 15,000 people is quite a lot of people, and that would trigger an inspection by an inspector just to walk around and check out the safety of the event. So you may have to do that. I'll get back with you this afternoon about that. I am interested in the superhero training course. I need some additional skill. No, I'm just kidding. Is there any structures involved in that? Any that you're putting people on?
Nothing that people be on. There's things like leaping over a giant building in a single bound, but I think those buildings are, kid size to leap over. It's mostly geared towards kids. So anything would be at that size level. And I don't think they're climbing anything or doing anything that would be hazardous.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Thanks for your presentation. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for clarifying that, Josh. I thought like all public servants are already superheroes, so applies to like the whole crew on this call. Sergeant Kamelinka.
I do not have anything. Thank you.
Great. And I think, I passed over Ada County paramedics because I don't see that Cameo has joined us. If I'm wrong about that, just speak up. Rachel.
Thanks, Maria. Yes, Cameo is working the fair right now, so she was not able to join us. First of all, Jesse, you're already my hero, and I do want to see you jump over a small building. So great presentation. Greatly appreciate all the effort you guys have already put into looking into how to beef up some of the security and stuff like that. The biggest thing for us is looking at that emergency ingress and egress points. So in any of these parking lots, we just ask that you please keep those areas clear. Even when you're doing loading and unloading, if we have a medical emergency or a fire, we just got to be able to get in there. So however you guys are managing the traffic that's coming in, just please keep those lanes of travel open. For medical, definitely have you reach out to Cameo. Also, Boise Fire can assist with that. The biggest things would be making sure that you guys have Pulse Point, which is an app that you can download that shows you what's going on in your area. If there's a medical call, tells you where AEDs are. I know the zoo uses it already, but just great for any of the team working with you to have it. And then there's a newer app out there called My 3 Words that you can download. And what that does is it grids out the entire city, and you can actually click on it and dispatch will get a direct location of where you're at if needed. So those would be the recommendations on that. And then for the group, everything looks good. We just need to be aware that this is also at the same time as Hyde Park Street Fair and both markets going on downtown. So it is going to get a bit congested for you.
There's also a BSU football game.
Thank you. And a BSU football game. Yes. So best of luck with parking.
Thank you. As a general rule, we try to avoid the games as much as humanly possible. The schedule this year just did not work out, but
that's all I have. I appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you.
Before we go to Clerk Taylor, I may have skipped over you. I don't know if you have anything from BPD.
No, we're fine. Thank you.
Okay, great. Kelly?
I don't need anything. Thank you, Joshua and Jessica, for your time. If you guys have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me for any assistance or communication.
Thanks so much, Kelly. I appreciate all your help with everything involved with this. So
you bet.
It's been great.
All right. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Jessica. Great presentation. Pretty painless. Looking forward to the event. I think the press release goes out today.
Yes, this should be out this morning.
So terrific.
Thank you, Maria.
All right, moving on. St. Luke's Fit One is back. Alyssa, you are up. Welcome back.
Thank you. I know we're very excited. I'm actually happy to be working with all of you again. It's been too long. let me figure out how to share. Sorry, I'm used to Teams, so give me a second on Zoom here.
Us too.
Same.
And Maria, just for your record, Joseph did have to hop off for Central District Health.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Whoops, hold on. Sorry. One sec. Yep. Oh my gosh, it's been a while since I've done this. Where is the start the presentation thing? Oh, there it is. Never mind. Sorry, been a while. There we go. So can you guys all see that?
We sure can.
Perfect. Okay, so St. Luke's Fit One 5K, 10K half marathon is coming back to downtown Boise on Saturday, September 24th. It is actually our 10th year, but I kind of feel like it doesn't quite count since we had to do the last 2 years virtually. So just to kind of give you guys an idea, we've done a virtual event the last 2 years, and we had participants participating within Boise and all across the US, and we had just under 8,000 participants those 2 years. So we were pretty, as bummed as we were to be virtual, it was a pretty good turnout, and we kept people moving and active and keeping their spirits up is kind of how we saw it as. Since 2013, St. Luke's has Fit One has donated over $750,000 to the Children's Hospital. This is not just a one-day race. We use this as a platform to really help encourage families and communities to stay active and enjoy activity and make it fun. It's not just a run where you have to run a half marathon. A 5K can be really easy and fun for everybody involved. You can skip, you can jump. You should see the kids as they go down Capitol Boulevard that morning. It's pretty fun. But all that money that we raise through these events helps keep the community healthy. And we turn it back around and actually build tracks in low-income areas. And that helps give them a safe option to keep moving as a family in a school backyard. Big things for this year. We are actually using the same courses that we had in 2019. So that has been really nice to be able to use something that we're familiar with, not only from our end, but also for Boise PD and all that fun stuff. It makes things a little bit easier, and also ACHD. We kind of have a rinse and repeat. We know how it goes, makes life a little easier. One cool thing about our event is it showcases downtown Boise and East Boise. We, get to run straight from the Capitol, and our 10K and half marathon goes down Idaho, down Warm Springs, which is awesome in September. It's beautiful. We go through the botanical gardens and the old pen. So we get to showcase some really cool aspects of Boise. And then they hit the green belt and come back into town. And the 10K goes through Julia Davis. The half goes past Boise State, and then we finish in Ann Morrison Park, another really, really cool park that a lot of people know about. One cool feature we've been able to continue since day one is children 12 and under are free. So, which is really cool to be able to offer that to families. It makes it cost effective for a lot of families who don't really do other events. So a lot of families, this is the only special event or run activity that they do because it's affordable. And one key point for this year is we used to always have an expo with packet pickup inside a building. We decided as a group and as a hospital that we wanted to keep everything outside because we weren't sure what the terrain was going to be. We weren't sure what things were going to look like. So packet pickup this year is actually happening at Ann Morrison Park from Wednesday through Friday. We've spread it out over 3 days and over from noon to 7, making it easy for people and, keeping distance and space and things like that. So this year, in 2019, I will say we did have over 12,000 participants. We did not expect that this year, and I don't know if we want to have that many this year. So we're kind of estimating about 7,500 participants by the time we start the event in September. Just to give you an idea, registration kickoff on June 1st, we had 5,500 people sign up, which was awesome. It was really, really good. So people were excited to get back and get doing this activity again. So right now we sit at 6,422 with a month left. So advertising is kicked up again. People are thinking about it. You know, September is now, people are thinking about September. Got kids back in school. They're able to think about those activities in the future. Our breakdown right now is the half is about 1,500, the 10K is at 1,600, and the 5K is at 3,200. We don't expect the half and the 10K to really bump much. It's always the 5K numbers that'll bump up at that time, usually later. And then to break it down, we have over 1,000 kids participating so far that are 12 and under. One cool feature that we were interested in was the new participants this year. 43% of that 6,000 people are brand new. I mean, we all know that we've had a huge influx of people move into Idaho and the Boise and Treasure Valley area. So that was kind of interesting. We'll have 750 volunteers helping with this event over those from registration or from packet pickup through the event. And right now we have registrations currently from 22 states. So Fit One start line happens at Cecil Andrus Park. And here it's kind of hard to see, but I did my best to blow this up as best I could to kind of give you an idea of the layout of how we set up the start line. So we kind of break everybody down. The half and the 10K will be earlier that day, but it just kind of gives you an idea of how we stage everything. And the 5K goes into all 4 of those bays, or corrals as we call them. And here's kind of how the breakdown happens Saturday morning. Start time for the half is 7:15. We utilize Capital to Idaho, go down Warm Springs. They merge onto the Greenbelt past Starview. And from there, they kind of take the Greenbelt all the way back into town. They go through River Run, that sort of thing. The merge point with the 5K and 10K courses is at Capitol Boulevard and Cesar Chavez. And we're using Specialty as our traffic product and services. We've used them for the last many years, so they're a great partner. Our first half marathon finisher we're predicting is about 8:45, and roads will start reopening at 11 or as soon as we get the runners through, Debbie and John. We will have people sweeping behind them. And then I can show maps a little bit easier of the race course if we want to here and after I'm done with this, it'll make your life a little easier. The 10K starts at 7:30. It follows the same route as the half marathon course till they hit Martin and our Warm Springs and Martin. They take a right down Martin and then hit the Greenbelt from there and then head towards Julia Davis Park. And they enter right onto Capitol Boulevard, right by the Boise Art Museum. The first 10K finisher we are predicting is about 8:10. And then we've got the map. And then we have a little bit of a lull between the 10K and the 5K start. So the first 5K wave starts at 9:30 and there'll be 5 waves kind of shot off every few minutes once we get the crowd through. And then the finish line and festival happens at Ann Morrison Park. We're going to make sure we have our vendors that are ready to go at 7:30, just being prepared for when that first runner comes through. So this map is really hard to see, so I apologize. It was trying to give enough of a screenshot of the entire park that we have going on here. But we do have some vendors and they are just our sponsors this year. So we will have some 10 by 10 tents tentatively kind of in that area. They might be spread out a little bit more. We do have one large food distribution tent. It's called the Albertsons Pavilion. It's a 40 by 80, and right in that area, they just get prepackaged food that is supplied by Albertsons and a few other sponsors. We do have a band playing at the finish this year, like we did in 2019. It's like a 16 by 20 stage. And then a few things we have added this year, which I forgot to mention at the start line, is a kind of Jumbotron to kind of help people see everything that's going on at the start and finish, and also a way for us to promote our sponsors. And we're also going to use social media posts and some videos, things like that, thanking everybody for attending. It's just another way of expanding that participant experience. And I'm not sure what else we need to know on that, but if there's any questions, let me know. And then here's kind of the other notes or key factors that most of you want to know about. So our medical partners for this year, as many of you know, Ada County Paramedics just doesn't have the staff and they're not doing events. So we have actually partnered kind of in-house this year. Air St. Luke's and Magic Valley Paramedics, who works with our Air St. Luke's team in Twin Falls, has stepped up to help us with the event. They're literally filling the shoes that Ada County did for us in every form and fashion. They've been able to wrangle all the staff, UTVs, things like that, that we need, the 2 ambulances that we've used at our event. So we are very excited to have them on board and fill those shoes for us. And then we also have, like we have in the past, our St. Luke's sports medicine team is at the finish with a trailer and medical supplies to kind of help with the general things that we see. And then we also have medical tents scattered throughout our race courses at the half and the 10K that are St. Luke's volunteer, well, they're St. Luke's staff, but they're volunteering that day to help with the Band-Aid needs, the aspirin needs, those kinds of things. And then we also have them being able to make the phone calls to get emergency help when needed. Our security plan, Rachel and I have become best buds again. We've been working closely on making sure our event runs as smoothly as possible and the safest as possible. So we could go into detail, but I don't know if I really need to. Rachel knows, we just met yesterday. But we've really come up with a great plan, and I think we've got all the ducks in a row so far as best we can. So we'll have it completely dialed in here soon. And then just for your guys' reference, we will have MAV security on hand at the Ann Morrison Park once we start setting anything up. They'll be there overnight, making sure nothing gets messed with, that everything's taken care of. And they will also be helping with some traffic control needs as needed. Shuttles and parking. We're continuing our relationship with Boise Town Square as a shuttle location, helping people get downtown and then also back. When we add a question to our registration about who possibly might use our shuttle services, and so far the answer is about half, almost half the participants will be using our shuttle services. So that helps alleviate a lot of that parking congestion and problem and traffic that we could see at our event, and Durham Bus Services will be the ones doing that shuttle service for us this year. Trash and recycling, I've been working with Conrad and Ed about figuring out the best for our event. So I think we've got that dialed in, but we will have a small dumpster at the start and trash boxes and recycling around. And then at the finish, we have quite a bit of recycling dumpsters available because we will have a lot of cardboard due to shirts, boxes, things like that, other event supplies, and then also vendors bringing in products and then just having to dispose of that later. As I mentioned earlier, the Finish Festival, we have a stage with a band, the Albertsons breakfast tent, which is all prepackaged food. And then neighborhood notifications. We really strive hard to make sure our community is well aware of our event because of our giant footprint. So we do a full color mailer like we have in the past that gets mailed directly to their door the week before our event to all kind of the footprint of our race. So they are well known. They have the whole map in front of them. They have how to contact me and any other questions that they may have. So we do that. We do emails to the neighborhoods affected. We strive to work with our community engagement group to make sure we have the right people we're talking to so they know exactly what's happening in their neighborhood and how their roads will be affected, that sort of thing. We do social media posts. We post to neighborhood like the Nextdoor apps, however we need to do to make sure everyone's in the know. KTVB also posts our press release and our road closure information, Idaho Press. We use reader boards on certain streets. And then we also actually do door hangers all down Warm Springs and in River Run. So we try really hard to make sure everyone is in the know because many years ago, I got a lot of not so happy people on me, and we've come up with the best plan as we can. So if there's any other ways that I can help notify, please let me know. I'm happy to make sure we get everything covered. And that is all I have at the moment. If you guys want to see anything else from the mailer to more detail on the course maps, I'm happy to share that as well if we need to.
That was great. Thank you so much for the amazing presentation and a fun event coming back in person online. We will start with John at ACHD.
Alyssa, always a wonderful event. And I hope we don't have a hole in Idaho this year.
I hope so too, man.
We've got your traffic control plan and Debbie's been working it. And for the most part, it looks good.
Okay.
We're still waiting on the Bannock portion to get back so that we can make sure we have 24/7 access to the key bank area.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday, and I think we've come up with a plan. So I will get that to you very soon.
Okay. This is not a football weekend here in Boise. That's a good thing. It's an away game. And other than that, we're just looking forward to it, and it's always a wonderful event.
Perfect. Thank you.
Ed.
Morning, Alyssa.
Morning.
Just a quick thing. So there will be, I mean, this is pretty obvious. There will be a recycling dumpster at the finish where most of that waste and recycles will be generated, right?
Yes, there's two actually.
Two. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
Okay. If you think the vendors, there will be a lot of cardboard generated. We can, you can certainly put out the individual recycling bins, but I would almost suggest if there's a lot of cardboard that they collect it and then take it to the dumpsters instead of clogging up the bins. Just a suggestion that might make it easier for everybody. But other than that, I mean, we'll just work offline. You will get your trash boxes from Conrad.
Yep.
I do not have that many, but yeah, we'll just work on getting you the correct amount of yellow bins and some signs. But other than that, just, if you haven't yet, distribute that low waste guide to the vendors. It's the links on the application. But other than that, I'll email you here and we'll get you going. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And one thing I guess I forgot to say during my presentation is we do have a green team that works at the Finish Festival that will actually be with carts that drive around to kind of help get that cardboard out of the way. And they're the ones that actually dispose of it. So we'll make sure that everything gets to the proper locations. So yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Awesome.
Great segue, Conrad.
Hi, Alyssa.
Hi.
Always great working with you. Thank you so much for getting out in front of this early, and most of it we sorted out. And in fact, I just need to confirm a couple things. One is this nitpicky. I see here a request for 140 boxes, and then I see in another place 150 boxes. 145?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then the two recycling boxes, just one's being dumped and then brought back to a different location, and that'll happen on Friday.
Yes. Yep. To help with the packet pickup area. Yeah.
Okay. And I looked again at your maps, and that is those are a blessing. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Yeah, very helpful. I saw parking and parks have signed off. So I really don't need anything else from you. Everything else is left on my responsibility. So thank you very much, and we'll get you finished up here.
Okay, thanks, Conrad.
Thank you.
Vince, it looks like you've signed off, but any questions for Alyssa?
I don't. Alyssa, I have everything that I need from you, and we're set to go. If anything comes up, I'll just give you a quick email or a call. So we're set to go on parking.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Terrific. Leslie?
So Alyssa and I have a meeting tomorrow. We have lots to talk about with all the road closures affecting Capitol as well as Main Street Station. One question I would have, I guess, for Vince at this point along 9th Street, if those parking meters are able to be blocked, if that's the route we decide to use for bus staging with the station closed, if those are reserved for anything else, or if we'd be able to block those off for buses.
I'm sorry. Was that, I think this is Vince in parking. I missed some of that. I'm sorry. Could you repeat some of that for me, please?
Yeah, with Main Street Station being non-accessible during the event until 10:30. We will have to stage our buses elsewhere. We typically stage them up on 9th Street between Main and Grove in that area. So I just wanted to make sure that it would be available if that's what we end up doing again this year to block those meters.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's not going
Okay.
to be a problem. We'll go ahead and sign them all. I'll put the signs that we normally do, and we can work together to get that worked out. That's not going to be a problem at all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And then I also have a call into John Wasson to see what we need to do for signage because we have to taper lanes. So we'll get it all figured out ahead of time.
All right, super.
Sydney.
Hi, Alyssa. We're just waiting on your certificate of insurance.
Yep, I passed that information along to my contact here at St. Luke's, and I'm just waiting to get that back, and I will pass it on to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Summer.
Hey, Alyssa, you already gave me everything I need. Hi. I'm going to stay in touch with you about the Greenbelt and Julia Davis. That looks super promising. They're working on it. Just a reminder, the east end of Julia Davis is still going to look like it does today. Right now as you drive by it. So it's not pretty. Just make sure that your medical staff is on the Greenbelt. That's probably the easiest way to access if something happens right there in that Broadway bridge.
Okay.
So not pretty, but it'll be paved and usable. So
As long as there's a smooth pavement, I don't care. The prettiness is fine. That's fine.
right? Yeah. All right. That's it for me. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Summer.
Thanks, Summer. Andre, anything from DBA?
I mean, a couple things. First off, thank you so much for being proactive about community notification part of this. That's always been one factor in the fact that you guys do close down Bannock right there in front of Park Lane's Idaho building tenants. So I'll work with you offline on just making sure that they're well notified that they won't have access in and out of the garage, and Key Bank as well. But other than that, you know, we're looking forward to the event. It's a really fun event for our downtown.
Perfect. Thank you.
Captain Halpert.
Hi, Alyssa. I think most of my concerns were addressed yesterday. You were going to just make sure you get the proper tent permits applied for, and then you were going to send me some information on the structures involved with the Jumbotron at the start line. I'd just like to see what that's about. So other than that, I think I have everything I need.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
I'll get those to you shortly.
Okay.
And Boise Police Department.
We don't have any issues. We're currently compiling the manpower agreement, and we will get that to you shortly.
Right. Rachel.
Hello, and good to see you again. We just met yesterday, so we did have a great meeting yesterday with our safety and security team. Just rounding up what we have left over, not much to do. We will have a command post on this one, and that is simply because we have so many moving parts with the routes going every direction. So we'll be working on that to get everybody together, but that allows us to have direct connection to the course for traffic control, which allows us to clean up that traffic control as soon as possible once the runners have made it through. We'll also have a direct connect for medical, which allows us to be able to request external medical resources like transport if needed. So thank you, Alyssa, for all of that. I know there's a lot of connection points. Just really appreciate the extra legwork that you've done in advance. It helps us get there a lot faster and a lot easier.
No problem.
And Kelly.
I'm good. Great to have you back, Alyssa. If you need anything, let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much, Alyssa. That was very, very quick. You've got all of your ducks in a row. We appreciate that so much and are looking forward to it.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Thanks. Last but not least, 2022 C Spot Run Walk, Amy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm very new with the Idaho Humane Society, so you'll have to forgive us. We have a whole new development team on C Spot Walk, so we are doing our best.
Oh, no worries, and we are here to help. So it was smart on Kelly's part to have you see how the process goes with the first two. So you'll be like an old hand in no time.
I watched all of the past presentations so I could be prepared for everything.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It wasn't bad, but I feel like I know you guys all, so that's good. All right, so Sea Spot Walk 2022 presentation today. It will be at Julia Davis on October 1st. It is always the first Saturday of October. We have in the past done it at 9 a.m., but that's a little early for our team, so we decided to go at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it is our 30th anniversary this year, so we're hoping for a big turnout. And we've been out of commission for 2 years, so hopefully we have a lot of people show up. So it's a dog walk and festival. We are not doing a 5K. We are just doing the 1 mile walk this year. And it is to benefit Idaho Humane Society pets and their humans. So we're going to use the same route that we've used in the past since 2016. We will start right here. People typically line up behind the band shell here on Julia Davis, and then we walk all the way down to here and then back around. And we do have a shorter loop for the older dogs or people or kids that can't quite make the full mile. So all this will be closed during that time. And then we do have security to be there for that closure. And then we'll have watering stations and volunteers stationed along the route so no one gets lost. We also have animal control present to make sure everyone's following the leash rules, typically 1 or 2 officers, also to ensure there's no bites or aggressive dog behavior. You'll have to forgive my vendor map. I am still in the process of making it. We are still working on getting vendors signed up. So we want to have, this is the band shell. We want the vendors in this area because we do have contests on at the band shell. So we don't want to line the vendors up there. And then these are our sponsor tents. And then we will have first aid at right next to our IHS row. And then we do have 2 food trucks currently, and then 3 food trucks. Sorry, I just got an email. 3 food trucks and a waffle vendor. So I will have a better map coming for you guys soon. So here's the schedule of event. The night before, we'll flag off for vendor areas. We did request that we could do that ahead of time. And then we do have a staggered vendor unloading to avoid any congestion. So that starts at 7 a.m. and will go till 9:30. And then we open at 10. We will start the walk around 10:30. And then after the walk, we have contests on stage and people to just enjoy the festival. And then we will start cleanup at 1 p.m. So for safety and security, we did hire Signal 88 to handle security and road closures. We have rented bicycle barriers and cones for traffic control, and we do have volunteers that help with that as well for vendors to make sure that they're in and out within their prescribed time. And then we do have water for the dogs and the walkers. We have promotional materials that we've sent out. We have posters, Facebook, Instagram. We will have billboards going up by Lamar. K-Hits will start running ads for us as well as CBS too. And then I did receive the notification information and I will be hand delivering that to the Boise Art Museum, Idaho Historical Museum, and Boise Zoo Boise. And then I've been working really hard to make sure that this is a sustainable event. We want to lower our footprint. So we have requested an 8-yard trash bin and an 8-yard recycle bin, 30 trash boxes and 20 recycle boxes. We do have a green team. It is going to be Boise High School students. They're going to stand and make sure that things that are recycled go into the recycle, things that are trash go in the trash. We're trying to secure canned water instead of bottled. If we can't, we would like to ask if we can set up refillable stations for people's water bottles. And we do get 90 cents per can when we recycle back to Idaho Humane Society. So we want to try and recycle as many of those cans as we can. So that way we do get that money back in the end. And we will have a separate can recycling and we will handle that ourselves. And then we do have 4 food vendors, and we do want to get a couple more. We definitely need more than 1 coffee vendor. that time of the day. And then I will make sure that all the vendors have their blue fire stickers before the event. And I will make sure that I have confirmation on that from all of them. And I have done the CDH notification of an event as well. And then, like I said, I'll hand deliver those notifications. I have not printed our flyers yet. They are with our graphic designer. So once those are done, I will drop everything off. So the cleanup plan is we do have Idaho Poop Scoop coming to the event. They're going to make sure that all the poop is cleaned up, and because we like to think that people will clean up their dog's poop, but you know how it goes. So we'll definitely make sure the park is left in pristine condition. And then we do have volunteers with the cleanup at the end of the event. Any questions?
I would say that your homework paid off very, very well. I don't know that I have heard an event organizer preemptively talk about the blue licenses on food trucks. So you just saved Jesse one of his favorite questions. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Let's start with ACHD.
Hi, thank you. We received your permit application. Of course, we didn't charge. It's not within Ada County right away. And we just think it's a great event and have fun.
Thank you.
Ed.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for being proactive on contacting myself to kind of get your recycling and trash plan set up. I don't have much now. We can work on once you decide if you can get canned or if there's some sort of reusable refill station option. But other than that, yeah, it's a great event. Yeah, my dog, got him from you guys a long time ago, so I love it. And
these are
yeah.
pictures of pups that are at the shelter right now.
Are they?
So,
no,
yep.
don't. That's too tempting. But yeah, we'll just work offline just to button it up. But you should be all set. Thanks, Amy.
Yeah.
Hi, Amy. Did you say 90 cents a can, like as in almost $1?
Yes, we work with the recycler in Nampa, and they give us a deal. So we have an entire volunteer team that smashes cans and picks them up from all the Zamzos. We are at about $20,000 this year in aluminum can money. So
Yeah, that is unheard of. Good for you.
I can see like Conrad's is like a little gobsmacked right now. I don't know that
I am.
Her, so.
Like, anyway, I don't want to go too far down, but good for you. Huh? That's awesome. Yeah, we've been having great conversations about your trash and recycling plan, and we'll continue to do so. Since summer's on here, I'll just say that in pre-COVID, the standard was 8-yard trash, 8-yard recycle. I don't recall how things were back then as far as getting close to overflow. And if maybe we do the same 1 and 1 again this year, and if it is past that point, consider adding a dumpster or even going to the big roll-off construction dumpsters for 23. But just wanted to point that out. I think I feel pretty good with the 1 and 1 8-yard dumpsters, but wanted to throw it out there.
Okay.
Amy, I will need a map for where you want these placed as well.
Oh, yes. I think when we spoke, we wanted to put the dumpsters just behind the band shell like in previous years. So that would be perfectly acceptable for us, I think. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Vince.
Hi, Amy. Thank you very much for taking my call and explaining the layout of the event. And also, I think we're good in parking. We don't have anything for you, so we're good to go.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Leslie.
Nothing from us.
Great. Sydney.
We have everything we need.
Fantastic. Summer.
Hi, Amy.
Hi.
You're doing a great job. This is
thank you.
for taking on this. Yeah, no, you're doing great. I have a couple things for you. The refillable water stations, Suez has a group that does a great job and they'll come out and set up a refillable water station. If you want that, I'll send you their email and you could do that. So that's on you.
Perfect. Thank you.
to
I would love
decide.
to. Yeah, I would. I'm reaching out to all the water that I can find. So
Yep. No, we could totally do that. And they have like a little doggy, like pour off thing too. So
perfect.
you could do that. The walk route, I know your board really likes that route. There's construction and we had to adjust it over the years.
Okay.
So I'll send you what is available and then you guys can plan accordingly around what I can offer. The staggered load-in times, that's so awesome. I really appreciate you doing that because it gets congested and it's nice for you guys to have that. And the last thing is please just make sure that nobody uses the zoo parking lot as their loading area because we try to just be good neighbors in that zoo parking lot specifically. Other than that, you guys can, set up and park and do your thing. So
great.
I'm also happy to meet on site since you're new to this portion of it and walk you through it and you can show me before you make that last nap. So
perfect. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, but thank you. Thanks.
Andre.
Hi, Amy. First off, great job. As somebody who's presented to this group, I know how challenging that can be. So thank you so much for communicating ahead of time as well and reaching out. Makes the process a lot smoother. So I'll just look for that community notification plan for you. And then other than that, really excited. We're going to add this to our social media stuff too to get people excited to go out there and hang out with their dogs. So thank you.
Great. Thank you.
And Boise Fire.
Yeah, great job, Amy. You not only mentioned blue stickers, you mentioned verification of blue stickers. That was awesome. Yeah, so just a couple things. Just make sure those food trucks are 10 feet apart. And then we're going to require the same permit we've required in the past, just the tents and membrane structures permit. And if you could submit an updated map when you do that, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Other than that, everything looks great. Thank you for the great presentation.
Great. Thank you.
BPD.
Yeah, we don't have anything for this. Thank you.
Great. Rachel.
Thank you. Great job, Amy. Really well done presentation, especially for your first go.
Thanks.
Always, you guys do a great job. The only thing that we're going to ask on this is what is going to be your communication plan with those that are working the event with you, security and volunteers? How are you talking to them if you need them?
We have radios that we use in the shelter that we will have on site. We will have our cell phones and then also, yeah, I think the radios is our main go-to. So we'll take our shelter radios that we use in the building and use them on site.
Perfect. That's exactly what we want to hear. Please work on a communication plan with instructions so that you guys are all aware. If you say something, then everybody knows how to react to that. So if we do have a medical emergency that can go across the air and your team can kind of help separate the crowd, move animals away from where we need to get into. That just helps it be a lot smoother of a response if we need it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Outside of that, everything looks great. Thank you.
And Kelly.
Hi, Amy. Nice to meet you. Thank you for being so diligent with your first time around here. There are 3 aspects of the vendors, or 3 areas that we need to touch on. So you did get the Boise Fire with the stickers, the Central District Health Department with the notification of events, and then the clerk's office. I do need a list as well that shows their eating and drinking mobile license. And I'll send you a sample sheet that I put together. It's not pretty, but it's better than nothing. So when you do get a permit and you think it's one thing, because that's what the vendor tells you, you'll see that it's not. The blue stickers are obvious. The health department looks very different than the city clerk's office, but at least you can differentiate from the 3. So if you have any questions, let me know. But if you could just send that list to me as soon as you get it done with the information, that would be great. And of course, if you need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Just a couple other things from me. One, since it's the 30th anniversary, I'd encourage you to submit a request for a proclamation. It seems proclamation worthy to me, and you can just find that on our website, I think on the mayor's page. I'm also going to talk to our team about maybe having a City of Boise table and reaching out to you about that. We've been working hard on some animal licensing stuff, which would be a good fit. And then finally, on a personal note, I just keep waiting for a catwalk in addition to the dog walk, because I don't know why we're discriminating against our feline friends.
Well, we are definitely going to start a sip and purr up again. So.
Oh, perfect. I am going to try to get one of those like little backpacks that look like they have like little astronaut faces on them. So we will see about that. But really, really great job. Very clear you did your homework, and looking forward to this event.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have a few pending approvals. Wanted to just check in. Is anyone waiting on anything substantial from SIP and Frolic? Looks like we're still waiting for ACHD's Central District Health, DBA, and OEP to sign off on that event as of last Friday.
I'll double check. I thought I signed off on that this morning because we don't have anything. I think we're all good to go. Everything's been approved.
Great.
We're still waiting for their business signatures, and I reached out yesterday, so waiting to hear back from them. As soon as I get that, I'll sign off.
Great. Okay. Boise Goat Head Fest. Looks like still waiting for sign off from Public Works, ACHD, CDH, DBA, OEP, and VRT.
Let me double check. I think we're good to go on that. I think I've got everything approved on that.
Okay.
And for VRT, I signed off this morning.
Oh, great.
I signed off on all the events I needed to, so everything's good for Public Works.
Oh, okay. Terrific.
Yeah, DBA signed off yesterday afternoon.
Okay. Water Lantern Festival. Fire, Republic Services.
Republic Services has signed off.
Great.
Fire signed off yesterday as well.
Great. Andre, did you sign off as well?
I did just recently, about 2 hours ago.
Oh, perfect. And then Spirit of Boise. Anything outstanding on Spirit of Boise?
We're still waiting on just a couple things from them in regards to the footprint and their staffing. So once we have that, we should be able to sign off.
Great. All right. Just a reminder that after event reviews are due, August events are due by September 15th. Important part of as important as what we do on the front end is taking notes on the back end so that we've got a good record for future events. And with that, anything else for the good of the order before we close today's meeting? All right, everybody have a great day.